Count us down, Georgia.
We are live.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Would someone like to have a word of prayer? If not, I can do that. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this group that's here this evening. We thank you for the time that we can work to improve our county and move things forward. We ask that you would bless each member here in Jesus' name. Amen.
Yeah.
Is there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Moving on, review meeting minutes from June 9th.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries as well. Approval of claims. This evening we have claims totaling $2,177.19. That's that down for signature. We have a motion to approve. And a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Public comments. Don't see any, so we'll turn it over to Andrew.
All right, good evening. I'm gonna ask Beth, if you don't mind passing this down. It's just helpful, little labor analytics.
Oh.
Just a little helpful to have numbers in front while we're talking about that. So what you'll see here is that our labor market here locally is tight. And we did see an increase in job postings over last month. This is May information. This is from IDES. They send monthly job analytics as well as job postings. So unemployment data, as well as what opportunities are available locally. So you'll see that the unemployment rate in Stephenson County is slightly less than it is in Freeport. That's typical. Both are a little increased over the previous month. And we have in the county 776 individuals who are unemployed and looking for employment. In the same month, we had 927 unique job postings. So those are unique. They're all 927 job opportunities. That encompass 249 employers competing for that talent, with an average hourly wage of 26.40 cents per hour. That equates to around $54,000 a year. Some of our top companies and top occupations. Those stay pretty consistent month over month. So on the second page, you will find IDES subscribes to a service called Lightcast. And what Lightcast does is it combs all different job postings, job posting services, and aggregates this information. So on the second page, you'll see if you know of any of your constituents, family, friends that are looking for employment, these would be resources that I would direct them to. They're also welcome to visit the partnership website. There is a tab there called Job Resources. It has many of the same links to listings as you'll find on that second sheet, as well as the workforce connections here in Freeport. They have an office at the 524 building, and they're happy to help anyone put together a resume, cover letter, and search for employment. Just trying to get as many people into the labor market as possible. We continue discussions with a automotive dealership in town who are looking to put together an RDA to facilitate an expansion of their dealership. This would be a good project that would add on some square footage to their building, as well as some automotive bays with 10 employees, 10 maintenance techs. We're also working with ComEd, City of Freeport, and a small data center that is looking to locate adjacent to downtown near the substation that you might see out our window here currently. We have a meeting later this month with representatives from the EDA, which is the Economic Development Administration. That is the federally funded kind of economic development arm. There are different regions throughout the United States. Our region is based out of Chicago. The EDA then works closely with, within our area of Blackhawk Hills Regional Council. So I'm convening a meeting between EDA and Dan Payette from Blackhawk Hills to talk about an opportunity to seek a grant for to develop a grant to help with technical assistance to put together an economic development plan for Alberta's airport. So it's just at the beginning stage. Again, early on, the Trump administration, the EDA did get renewed. So it is funded and operational. However, I have not seen them award any grant dollars yet this year. Typically, they roll those out on a kind of a rolling basis. So part of the conversation to see is, does it make sense to go through the process of putting together a grant application? Are they awarding grants currently? So more to come. We're also working with a architectural studio based out of Rockford to look at an existing building in downtown to see, put together some conceptual plans for redevelopment. See what they think that the building what would be a good fit, would be mixed use, and then how it could be marketed to a developer for potential redevelopment. We were also awarded $50,000 from T-Mobile. T-Mobile has a hometown grant program. We've applied a couple different rounds. This round we were awarded. That $50,000 will help us turn a public space in downtown into a small pocket park that can be utilized by downtown. Well, it doesn't have to be downtown. Any residents and or people visiting downtown Freeport will be adjacent to some restaurants who will offer some outdoor dining space. So if people so choose to take advantage. And with John Bosco's departure, we are currently undergoing interviews for their development services manager. So those are ongoing. Had my first one today and hope to conclude next week. Some business roundtables that are upcoming. Social media is ever present in all of our lives to a varying degree, but certainly for our local businesses and how they can utilize social media for their benefit. We're going to be putting on a virtual presentation via Facebook Live on July 16th. On July 29th, we are having an HR roundtable talking about executive level recruitment. That will be a panel discussion with some local talent who they do that professionally, the executive level recruitment. And then at the end of the month, we will have Quad City Regional Economic Development Authority here to give an introduction onto what their organization does as a redevelopment authority, authorized by state legislature. They can do double tax exempt bonds that can help both public entities and private businesses with redevelopment. Quad City Regional Economic Development Authority is we're within their territory, as is most of Northwest Illinois. So Warren Ribley is his name, and he will be here as the executive director. Previously, I believe, many moons ago, Highland Community College and maybe FHN took advantage of some of their programs to help facilitate some expansion. Again, this would have been over 10 years ago, if not closer to 20. But I know with some expansion of the YWs or YMCA, as well as Highland's future plans, there might be opportunities to utilize their services. We had a very good steering team meeting talking about the Midland CEO program. And I know I've talked about this with you previous meetings. The Midland Institute CEO Entrepreneurship Program is a program that's developed in conjunction with area high schools to help juniors and seniors develop its two credit hour class. And they work with local business leaders to develop their own individual business as well as a group business throughout the calendar year. And they have a pitch competition. This program has been very successful in helping kids not only develop leadership skills, business knowledge, the soft skills needed to go out and succeed in, I think, any career field. But also many of graduates of the program have gone on to establish their own business, often staying local. The closest branch of this program or chapter of this program is the Whiteside Area Career Center, WAC, I believe. and it has been very successful there. Originally started in Effingham, Illinois. So there's a lot more chapters in Southern Illinois because Midland Estates Bank or Midland Bank was originated in Effingham, and that's how it started. So we're excited to see the engagement from the business community as well. A separate board will be set up to kind of operationalize this program along with Freeport High School. That's where it started. They were very excited about this program and it thought it dovetailed nicely into their career academies model. So this coming school year will be a planning year set to launch fall of 2026. So
They're gonna work with home schools and private schools?
it might in the future. I think they're hoping to get it established in Freeport and then see what other area high schools are interested in participating. I think that it's been so successful in the Whiteside area that they have 2 classes. I think they limit it to about 20 kids. So it's been there for, I think, over a decade. So yeah, it's been a very positive and successful program. Just a couple of other things I'll bring you up to speed. We're still working with a small plastics manufacturer here in Freeport. They're looking to expand and put a new building on their site. This is, I think, stemming from the tariffs and pre-purchasing some materials. Business is very good for them right now and they don't foresee that changing. So that's positive news. Tonight is the last public meeting for the Stephenson Enterprise Zone boundary expansion. So once I get that paperwork from Hanover, I will tidy up and wrap up the application and get that sent down to the state. Upcoming will be AutoSmart, which was at the former visitor center. I've talked a little bit about this before, but the parcel the visitor center building is in the enterprise zone. There is an adjacent parcel that's directly to the directly to the west that is also part of that owned by the same owner, and they would like to put another building, but it's not in the enterprise zone. So we're going to go through that process. I think that's about it. I would also say that the last kind of outcome, though the work will be ongoing from the work that we've been doing with the NAACP Housing Committee, is that there will be focused work done in 3 separate areas around housing, education, and financial literacy, home improvement, and housing growth. The partnership will kind of take the lead on focused work around housing growth. How do we utilize the enterprise zone as well as other tools to incentivize growth in Freeport and within the county? So happy to answer any questions on all of that.
I have to make a little comment on the housing needs. When I was teaching, I taught a class we called home maintenance.
Yes.
And I taught things like plumbing and electrical wiring and all kinds of other odds and ends, mortgages and insurance. But I found it interesting that the groups of young people that said, Mr. Frick, why are we doing this? If I have this kind of problem, I'm just gonna call my landlord. I'm not gonna do that. And I think that's kind of what you have to deal with when you're talking about housing needs. Are they just needs that people are just going to exist, or do people really want to own and take care of their own? It was really interesting. But thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I have a question if I may. So I'm assuming the old Freeport Holiday Inn is Freeport's, in the city of Freeport. Is there any plans for that or?
It's on, my understanding is that the city is in court with the owner. They would like to demo that building, take possession and tear it down. I think right now what they're doing is it's in litigation and trying to keep it as boarded up as possible so that people aren't in there. They're not supposed to be.
Man, that's where my wedding reception was.
It used to be beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what I've been told. I would love to see pictures of when it was beautiful. I've never lived in the community when it was beautiful, so.
Sunday morning champagne brunch.
Yeah.
That was a hot spot, Freeport for sure.
It was, yeah, that's good.
I've heard that.
Me too.
What I said.
I just said. Okay.
You're welcome.
Okay, moving on to Beth, thank you.
All right, the deposit for the month of June, sorry, is $9,291.42. I do have that wrong on the report that went out to the committee. Total deposit to date for the general fund is $39,800.10. 27 letters of violation were sent out in June. 57 letters of violation have been sent out so far in 2025. We still have 19 active violations. 22 of those were no permit violation letters. That's why it seems like it's so much. But we are getting more and more complaints about tall grass, weeds, trees overgrown, things like that. Nicole and I met with County Board member Lynette Williams to discuss everything solar. She wanted to know everything. She requested the meeting. It came to our office and she wanted to know what we can and cannot do according to state statute and things like that, which is great. I'm so glad that she reached out just so she gets a clear head on everything. Cause she's hearing community members speak at public comment and she's trying to clear things up. So I really appreciated that. I attended the zoning roundtable down in Ogle County. I had a virtual meeting with Chris DePodesta to discuss the broken panels down at Zimmerman or up at Zimmerman North. And the notification signs on the site were wrong. They had the City of Freeport Police Department phone number, which it's not that big of a deal because if you call 911, it routes to where you need to, but we've got those changed. He confirmed on the 30th of June that the damaged panels have been removed and that the new emergency contact signs are in production and will be installed soon. I'm gonna go out there within the next week or so as time permits to make sure that those panels have been removed. He is going to send me pictures. He didn't ask the contractor to send pictures of them off the property, so he's gonna ask again once they go back out. Nicole and I have conducted several site inspections this past month to observe and verify compliance. And like I said, we've been thanked multiple times for implementing the weeds and grass ordinance. It seems to be working really well. I've gotten a few more violation phone calls this last week when I was gone. Well, the last couple days I was gone. Couple emails. I had Aaron Township call me today. They wanted to start their own ordinance for the entire township because they weren't aware of the county ordinance that can enforce throughout townships that aren't incorporated. They didn't know we had the hearing administrator as well either, so they were happy with that and asked if I'd come to a meeting, their next month's meeting, if I am able to. So I have right now.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Dale. Sorry.
Did you happen to ask them if those panels are hazardous?
Yes, I have that information at home and no, they are not.
Okay, I didn't, I
Not
thought I had heard that they
the
were
office.
not.
You're right. Yes, they are not.
All right.
Office, home,
Thank
same
you.
thing.
Got it.
That was one of my questions. The other, the house on 26 by Willow Lake.
Yes, she does not pick up her letters, so I'm going to have to post on the door there. Cause she's got a house there and she's got a house in town. Both letters came back to me. I see it's being mowed, but there's junk accumulating, there's weeds. So
Look like there's anybody living there.
no, I don't think so. I think, yeah,
As far as people.
Right. right. You would think taxes are paid, so, but yes, I have the letter. I just need to put it on red paper and laminate it, put it on the front door.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
What about running in the county? There's a property where there must be 4 so-called contractors bringing anything from couches to
Nope, can't do that. Where's that
construction
at?
to and burning. I mean, they get piles that are 3 times the size of this room and then they light them up at night.
Where's this at?
Courier Road
Courier Road? Really?
at the old school,
Oh,
which is basically abandoned too.
okay.
But we've been a little bit concerned because it's right next to us.
Yeah, see, you will have to tell Nicole and I this, cause we can't patrol the whole entire,
And we have a driveway that goes back to the middle of the farm
right,
and we noticed lots of tracks that we haven't made, so we're just kind of watching a little bit.
okay.
But
Do you know,
I can't tell you the address because I don't have an address.
but it's the old school?
but it's the old school.
Okay.
Just go up Anderson.
Yep.
You'll see the pile.
Really?
Mhm.
Hauling things in to be burned.
Oh, yeah, they come in there with
Do you
trailer
know,
loads.
can you tell who they are? Do they have,
No,
okay,
and it varies. Young people, old people, they just come in there and,
okay.
like I said, couches and wood and. So, I guess the game came around there. Anyway, I can call you, at the office too.
Okay, it's, I can, okay.
And then you and I were able to connect on the situation at Mill Race with those properties out there, what was happening. What's going on with that?
Oh, Mr. Hashmi
Yeah.
has now received approval for a driveway, so that makes it much better. It's not the best location for a drive, but, he's gotten that. Have you heard from him? Recently, no, I haven't either. So he's got everything he needs to build out there and good to go on that.
They were a little concerned out there in the neighborhood just because now with this driveway going in. Highway department's talking about putting a stop sign on,
No, they are not.
they're not.
No, Dale had a study done, a speed study. I have the report. I can email it to you. Speed
Awesome.
study, traffic study, a site distance study. It is not, the site distance does not allow for a stop sign there. Coming from the south, that hill, you would not have enough time to stop.
Well, that's what everybody was concerned
Right,
about, so.
yep, no, so there's no stop sign. Can't just throw one up. No.
Thank you for your answers.
Yep.
Anyone else? Moving on, soil and water, I did speak with them, I wasn't at their meeting. Right now, it's like a lot of other ag organizations, right now, everybody's getting ready for the fair. Setting up booths, doing things there, so that'll be here in 14 days and.
Wow,
Everybody's working on that, so,
summer's half over already.
yeah, it was. Yeah. Recreation and trails, let Dale.
We didn't really have anything at the meeting except, I sent out the, financial report. They want up our contribution from 16,000 to 20,000 this year. George, did you look up that contract?
I haven't had a chance with, some
Oh, yeah,
other,
you got enough to do. It's no big hurry.
but I will
Okay.
look for it.
This guy had talked to you about it and he
Yeah,
said
there
it
should be an
rather.
intergovernmental agreement between Park District, the city of Freeport and Stephenson County for trail maintenance. Maybe the village of Orangeville too.
Yeah, the village of Orangeville's involved, yeah.
And it's been a few years since I've looked at it, so, yeah, we'll
I
have to see.
haven't, I just haven't
Yeah.
had a chance to.
That's all I have.
Blackhawk Hills, this wasn't their month to meet, they will be meeting later this month, but I did want to make the comment that two of the grants that Dale talked about that came from for the highway program, Blackhawk Hills did assist in attaining those grants, so they're out there.
They're
doing
very
something.
good at it.
If I
Cool.
could add
Sure.
to, Chairman Holmes and I spoke with Mr. Pat, and he'll be presenting an update at next month's committee meeting. If that's
Very good. That's all I have. I don't really have a chairman's report. And I don't have any reports from the focus groups, so we'll move on to new business with short-term rental.
All right, Bo and Renata Lee, are from Mount Horn, Wisconsin. They are looking to purchase the church on Florence Road and turn that into an eclectic Airbnb. We have not had any adjacent landowners, object. A couple have called in just asking, well, is this turning my house into an Airbnb? No, it's not. They get a little confused. So no, it will not turn anybody else's property into the Airbnb. It would stay the same zoning, which is E3, Estate Residence District, and they're hoping that that goes through.
So I guess
Odd place for them.
that's just a unique property though. I mean, when you think.
Well, it is.
Yeah, they own an
Drive through
antique
there,
store.
like, I don't know anybody that would stay there on a temporary basis unless you're you know, somebody in the area.
You would be surprised
Did you?
how many people, I mean, we have some neighbors that they have this beautiful old house and there's nothing. This German Valley has,
Right.
well, Mrs. Hayes would say.
Yeah, but this isn't even Sherman Valley.
No, but it's
It's either.
Florence Station.
Yeah.
They have some neat ideas. They
Yeah,
own an antique store up in Mount Horeb as well,
Okay.
so. if-
yeah, I'm not opposed to it at all. I'm just saying it just seems kind of an odd idea to
Right.
me.
Yeah.
Personally. It's their money.
Yeah, so we need a motion to approve the special use.
The only comment I would make is that I have always been, and I still continue to be concerned about how we notify people, adjacent landowners. I mean, we notified 6 people,
Mhm,
one of them was a cemetery,
mhm.
so we're down to 5. And in Florence Station, that's like half the town. Right? So, you know, the other half, I don't know if they know about it. So that's my only comment. I've long subscribed to the idea that we would better serve to put a sign in front of the property
Right,
and say, this is subject to zoning change. Here's the meeting date, and at least anybody then driving by would know that there's change in the works or possible change.
right, I understand that. The zoning doesn't change. It'll stay E3. Just, it'll have a special use to allow for that. It's not state required and it's not something the county's ever done. I have talked to other area counties that have done it and then stopped. It brings out people that come in and their objection doesn't matter. If they're not allowed, if they're not adjacent landowners, their objections don't matter. So unfortunately, it just brings out more issues, it seems like, according to other counties. But yeah, that's not something I know you want me to. If you make the signs for me, have at it for every single one of them.
We have a sign.
It's hard. Our sign still at the end still needs to be fixed to remove EMA. It's been over a year. But yeah,
Or you could do just 2 or 3 signs and just change the date when the hearing is gonna be.
who's that? No, kidding. I'll look into it again. I will.
Thank
I'll
you.
discuss it with Nicole. and-
I know it's done in Wisconsin and
Right, City of Freeport does it,
Yeah,
but it's, yeah.
thank you.
Yep.
I move to approve.
Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries on to the next special use permit, solar.
Yes, all right. This is for 601 Freeport Solar LLC. It is on Doug Fireball's property on North Harlem Center Road. We've had one adjacent landowner send in a letter of objection. It's for the 40 acres of the 76.82 parcel, 4.99 megawatts of AC solar generating plant, sorry. And that's it.
No battery storage.
No battery storage.
Any questions?
I'm gonna be completely surrounded out there
Mm-hmm.
pretty soon.
Actually, I do have a question. My stepson, we were talking about solar and you know, getting the farm committee and he said that, by allowing these people to put solar panels up and they're making more money than they would if they were farming it, it's artificially raising the price of an acre of land, which makes it more difficult for,
Steve, how do you feel on that? I feel that's a no.
okay.
Cropland prices right now are high, right? They're the highest they've ever been, I believe. But I
But
don't
it's
see
because,
that.
because the,
No, I don't
it's
think
not
it's
because of the
because,
solar panels.
no, because you have to be in a specific spot to have solar on your land, let's say. Well, you don't count because you live in Cedarville, but it's just, well, you're in town. Well, you would count because you're by a substation. I don't know if you would count or not for solar out by where you are because there's no substation around you. So it has to have a close proximity to a substation. So I don't see the land prices increasing because of the solar rent.
I should say, the one you and I just talked about isn't anywhere near, everybody's wondering where that's gonna go. There's no
Right.
substation anywhere nearby.
Uh-huh.
Unless they're gonna put a new sub in. Somehow, along with it.
So, okay. You wanna make a comment?
No, I'll pass that.
Aren't we supposed to be receiving some sort of benefit from this, all the solar,
Schools do.
what we know as residents or?
There's a tax.
Yeah. The tax benefits for the county and the school districts that are around. So,
You get a tax off of the,
yeah,
off of the boilerplate production of the facility.
right.
So,
Once it's connected. To the grid. I
Yeah.
remember
No,
reading something about that too.
Permits, the minute it's permitted,
Really?
the taxation process starts. The minute I send Angie, Cammy, and Kimber up at the assessment office, they get that permit, that's when they can start taxing.
Taxing on the property?
Mhm.
We're talking about the production, the
but
electrical.
it doesn't, the tax on the property doesn't change. I mean, the tax, overall tax on the property does, but the tax on the land does not change. It's only the facility that you get the additional tax on.
Right.
Correct.
The farmer or the landowner that owns the dirt isn't paying any more tax than the rest of us do on soil. The company that is producing the solar energy is taxed on the boilerplate production.
Right.
Yes.
Do we know the schools are actually getting the money?
I would have to ask, but at our last, well, at my zoning roundtable meeting, they were saying that they're having issues with certain school districts in the state that say, well, we could be getting this bigger chunk and asking for more because they know that the solar's out there and the biggest amount is supposed to go to this school district. So I don't know how that's working. I need to talk to Angie because one of our other county assessment officers was telling us this at our meeting, so. If your assessment office is doing it correctly, they're getting the chunk that they're allowed. So,
That's the only real advantage I see. It
Landowner
knocks down
rights
the
is the,
amount I
you
gotta
know,
pay for the
rent.
school around here.
Well, we're saving the world.
Yeah, okay. We keep thinking that.
Okay, motion to approve the special use permit for the 4.9 megawatt generating
So
plant.
moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's fine. Probably gets to be is we don't even have to vote on.
I can stick to my convictions at
Yep.
least. Permanent.
Okay, 9.3 approval of RFP for an as-needed building inspector.
Yes, I have this written up to go out as soon as possible. This is for the, dangerous buildings code that will be presented to admin Wednesday night. This has been a long time coming. It's been over a year and a half. I had Eric Borneman from Hinshaw and Culbertson write it. There were some issues through the health department that didn't like the wording, so they went on to try to revise it with Mr. Jokers to myself. That really didn't work. So, this is a result of that. The zoning department's gonna take over all dangerous building nuisances and other complaints as we receive them. And this will give us leverage to use, the code will give us leverage to use an inspector if needed. So this is what this is for. Let's say I have a house in Scioto Mills, which I do, that we had sent to court year and a half ago approximately, and I couldn't get a department to do an inspection for me. So now this will give us, with this, we'll get a building inspector just as needed. It states they can do it from the road if that's all they are allowed, road, sidewalk, on the property if they're allowed, and inside the building if they're allowed. So I'm hoping to get a few of our local inspectors or wherever they may come from to bid on this and just be as needed for when we get these types of buildings, and I can't clarify if it's dangerous or not with just my office, so.
What are the qualifications?
They have to have,
License.
look at that here. Two references, of course, professional certifications such as ICC, which is the Illinois Commerce Commission, and the relevant credentials, which are knowing our code, knowing the International Builders Code, and the IRC, which is the International Residential Building Code, electrical code, our zoning regulations, property maintenance code, so all of the state laws. So it would be anyone you would hire pretty much for a home inspection when you're purchasing a home or selling a home. That type of,
Are you hoping to get one person to use, or are you gonna have like a list once you get the bids back approved so that you?
that's a good question. However I can do it. Yeah,
Just
no,
popped
that's,
into my head as
yeah,
we were
that, no, that's
talking.
good. I didn't think of that either. So. That's what that's all about.
I guess I'm confused now.
Sorry, I rambled.
No, I mean, if we can do it on an as-needed basis. And we have, I mean, it's like getting an appraisal.
Mhm.
Oh. Is that how we need to write it up, or are we going to look for one person? How are you looking to have that work?
My thought was I would take all the bids in and go with the most experienced and qualified, of course, hoping they're gonna be the lowest bid. But now Georgia brought it up. That we could have a list of several of them, if there even are several around. But,
Make sure I know if you get
right,
responses.
right. I was expecting just one person, one company, I should say.
If they don't have multiple inspectors available, like just one person, let's just say, you could always approve alternates and have them ranked.
That's
You can rank them by cost, or you can rank them by experience, however you want to do that. And that's how you would approve the RFP, once the bids
The
from
bids,
the RFP.
Guess it's kind of.
Okay.
Back up.
Clears that mud right up. Showing up.
Don't worry about having these responses.
Right.
Details.
Yeah. At least we have a say in it.
It's all.
Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. So we need a motion to approve an RFP for an as needed building.
Motion to approve.
I'll second. Any discussion?
I would just, if I could, real
Sure.
quickly, thank Beth and her department for doing this. This has been a 3-year project of mine to try to start quote unquote cleaning up the unincorporated areas of Stephenson County. And Beth and your assistant are the path of least resistance and also probably the most engaged in this process. This statute actually says the health department. And that's been a dead end street. So thank you.
Not a problem.
I think we're gonna see some much better results this way anyway.
Thanks.
I hope so.
Thank you.
It seems to be working from what we've been doing, so. We can be the bad people. It's all right.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries as well. Moving on. I just put this in here. I received a phone call about possible expansion to the Kent Monument. It would amount to about 6 acres. It would be about 4 acres on the north side of the road and 2 to 2.5 acres on the south side of the road. The 6 acres on the 4 acres on the north side of the road actually has some of the original horse and buggy trail in the woods there. Mr. Thompson, Dave Thompson, who owns Grove Valley Eggs, is the current owner. He's not looking for any money for the land, but he would expect he would give it if we were interested in doing the work as far as the survey and, uh, closing costs and that sort of thing. No other costs as far as cost of the land. All I told him was in light of, the potential increase in dollars for trails and some of the other things going on. This is a good time to talk about it because it would have to be in next year's budget if we were interested in doing something. So just throwing it out there for discussion. Is that something we want to do? Do we want to increase our footprint out there or not? And it's not gonna make him mad either way, other than he would like to do that, but that's a discussion. That's all I'm asking.
We're the 2 acres south of the road.
If it's actually south of the current facility, there's some more trees and stuff.
Gotcha,
But
okay.
it's actually south of the facility, because it's still on the south side of the road.
Okay.
So the 2 acres on the south side would be limited to a nature trail or something like that, walk path.
They're both potential sites are wooded,
Okay,
so it's not just bare. I mean, and then there's some relatively old trees in there. I mean, old trees in there, that sort of thing, and that's why he thought that it would fit that facility if we were interested.
Can we
We're gonna
get,
have to send Wally out there with a chainsaw?
Somewhere along the way you might.
can we get a cost of the survey? I mean, I have no idea what a survey or closing cost would. Well, I have no idea.
Probably closing costs, survey, 5-6 grand,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds
maybe. That might be on the high side. Survey is gonna be the most expensive part. And it's been a long time since I've had a surveyor. Lyle Eaton out of Mount Carroll used to do them, I know.
Actually, he still doesn't.
Does he? Yeah. That might be a couple thousand maybe. So
And the rest of the closing costs,
title search,
yeah.
title insurance, deed transfer,
Another
$500,
2,000.
$600. Yeah, I mean, it just depends. And
Yeah.
it's gonna be different because there's no cost to the land, and that's usually what the title search, title insurance is based on.
Okay.
But yeah, you can do it pretty inexpensively, I think.
But you gotta continue maintenance and upkeep then, right?
Yes, you do.
So what's the purpose of acquiring that city for the county? Just an extra green space you have to go to, or
Right.
people to visit that?
Probably not getting too much for 600 acres anyway, but.
Preserving the trails, right?
Right, and he just felt like since it was connected and there's some of those, older things that are in there that reflect what's going on at that site anyway. He just felt that he would like he's donating the land, just for the cost of those things.
There's probably not much real estate tax on
Right.
tree
Right.
acres.
I mean, I think it's a very generous offer. And it would fit in nicely with the upkeep. That's another thing we need to, so
So I'm just getting the ball rolling. If we want to do something with that, then we need to move forward and find out what those costs are gonna be and look at them, if that's something that fits into our budget. If you want to move that further by consensus, you want to move it along, we can do that. See what those costs are gonna be. Because, and like I said, I've already said this isn't anything that's gonna happen in 2025. Because we have to have it budgeted somewhere. I don't know if we have $7,000 or $8,000 sitting around that we can do that with.
You're doing contingency. It's just a little early in the year to spend those dollars.
Right.
What would be nice is to reconfigure that park a little bit for parking purposes, and I don't know with getting these extra acres if that would do that or not necessarily, but I mean, it's tough out there. You're parking in grass for the most part now. I mean, we've invested a lot of money into that monument recently, so it's not going away anytime soon.
having not seen the site, I suspect the 4 acres on the north side of the road lend themselves more to as a natural extension of what we already have out there than the 2 acres on the south side.
Except that the 2 acres on the south side is contiguous to the property and the forest across the
I
road.
don't see how it would be
Okay.
selfish to do that. Sorry.
Anytime if you would like, I mean, we could go and see it. He's more than willing, one of us can bring a side by side out there or whatever, and we can go through this, if you'd like to see what it is, he's more than willing to show everyone what he's thinking.
I guess it'd be worth, at least worth taking, going out and take a look
A
at
couple
it.
of us go and
Yeah,
Yeah, my only concern is the continued maintenance. It sounds like a good deal. But we struggle to maintain the stuff we already have. So,
if there's thousands of dollars worth of trees that gotta come down,
yeah,
because rotting or whatever, that's a big problem.
for safety reasons.
Right, that could be a problem.
Well, I can meet with David, maybe we can go out there and look at it, I thought you guys, if we set something up and, okay, wanna go along, we can just take a look at it.
Yeah.
You gotta be willing to deal with Dave.
You should ask Beth if she wants to go off.
we're just getting it from all sides tonight, right?
But Dave, I mean, Dave, he's just trying to, look at some things that he sees as potential that would expand it. That's all I have. Anyone have anything else? Move to adjourn.
So,
Second.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
you still laugh.
No, that was.